It's been 18 months since the last Grom update video, and yeah, this time frame was not expected. But what I will say is it was worth the wait. And I'm going to do a quick recap because it's been a long time for me, and I'm sure for the regular viewers it's been a long time as well. And if you're new to the channel, you're probably going to appreciate this to make sense of the full story of Project Honda Grom. The plan was simple: buy a Honda Grom and put a stupid engine in it. These things make about 10 horsepower, and as you can see here, you can just about light the rear wheel up. But what if I could fit it with something that made 5 times that power and still be road legal? I sent my good friend Nath a challenge to find me a KTM EXC300, and it had to be the older one without the electric start, as unfortunately we weren't really blessed with a lot of space on this project. But the good news is he found a half decent one that had good history of a rebuild. It was just a case of removing the Grom engine from the frame and chopping a few things up, because this wasn't going to be a straightforward fit. Hours of head scratching later, I finally had a position for the engine and even managed to make it work on the standard carburetor without chopping the back of the frame. My good friend Andy turned my cardboard engine mounts into reality, and it was time to start it. The standard EXC300 exhaust did require some fabrication to clear the front wheel, and me and Spence, well, we built something pretty monstrous, but it worked for the road test. The good news from the road test, well, the engine didn't fall out, the drivetrain sort of works with the train position, which is really good news. But I had some terrible running issue, and I wasn't sure if this was down to fueling, whether it was where I messed around with the neck on the carburetor. But deep down I thought, you know what, it's going to be that exhaust. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the materials, the experience to sort of fabricate something that was going to flow nicely, because there were some nasty bends to make it fit under the bodywork. But that's where it was time to get the bike over to Mark Dent at Performance Fabrications to build a work of art for it. But before that, I had one last job to do before shipping it off, and that was finding an air filter, which thankfully came from Ram Air. Mark Dent at Performance Fabrications had a 6-month lead time before I could get the bike down to him, so it just sat in the garage, and every time I saw it, I had to look at that exhaust and realise I couldn't do any more with it until we got it down there to let him work his magic. Unfortunately, Mark Dent had been struck down seriously ill twice, which, as you'd imagine, building my exhaust was the least of his priorities. But I'm glad I continued waiting, because I knew from the work I'd seen before and that RG500 that I'd ridden with his parts on it previously, he's the man to go to for two-strokes. And look at these images. The welding, the design, it's just everything I could have wished for and more. It looks absolutely fantastic, and I was super excited to get it back and see if it actually worked now. The battery was as dead as a dodo after being with Mark Dent for 14 months. Pleased to report she took some charge, and it was time to pre-mix some fuel. As we said before, because this is from the EXC300, it doesn't come with a separate oil system that's injected. It is the old school manual of mixing it all up. But thankfully, even after all that time there, simply filling it up, giving it a kick, I was pleased to confirm it went really well. Mark Den at Performance Fabrications is the man. Just look how incredible it is, and the noise. Oh, it sounds so crisp, so sweet, and even on those hard blips, you can actually see it squat the bike.
Right, see if it starts. Well, I'm actually nervous. This thing scares shit out of me. Yeah, annoyingly, still got the niggly issue. It's just not clearing, so it's well, it has been a long 14 months, that's for sure. God, it's so antisocial. So, for those of you who watched the series previously, we obviously had that running issue. It's alright, it's alright. So the adventure continues of diagnosing the running issue. Could be fuel in, could be that carburettor bend I've built.
Sadly, the bike still wasn't running as it should be. The good news is it was night and day before the exhaust change because it was rough everywhere. Now it felt like everything was working just until you get to that point where you're expecting that sweet power valve to open and hurl you into light speed. It just didn't like being in that upper RPM, which sort of for me ruled out electrical issue. It was going to be fueling, power valve, something along those lines. But every time I rode it, it did seem to get better and better. As a quick clip here, when we came out the car park on the way home. Sorry, it's a little bit dark, this footage. Back on the ramp, I was keen to try and get this issue resolved before winter fully rolled in. The simplest thing to check was going to be the power valve. Annoyingly, I'd never ridden the bike when it was in the EXC300 frame, so I didn't even know if it worked before it came to me. But what that did mean is I was going to need to take off the power valve covers and have a look what was actually going on with the bike. Back on the ramp, I was keen to try and get this issue resolved before winter fully rolled in. The simplest thing to check was going to be the power valve. Annoyingly, I'd never ridden the bike when it was in the EXC300 frame, so I didn't even know if it worked before it came to me. But what that did mean is I was going to need to take off the power valve covers and have a look what was actually going on with the bike. Everything looked in good working order on the right hand side, nothing was seized. It was then just time to go over to the left hand side of the bike to remove that cover, as there are two inspection covers on the KTM power valve system. Well, that's never a good sign. What is that from? Ah, that bracket up there. So straight away, I mean it works. But what has happened there? I think we're going to need to take the exhaust off, have a look up into the port. Due to the age of the bike, I really struggled to find a decent workshop manual because I believe it's a 1998 model EXC300. But I think I got the basics. And the problem is, to really set the power valve, you need to take all the cylinder head off. I didn't have any gaskets and I wasn't even sure this was going to be the problem. What I do believe I've done, maybe I've got the bottom end a little bit wrong, but I've certainly set it up so that when the power valve is at full opening, it doesn't reclose the valve, which from what I could see, this was happening. When you push the power valve right to the top, it almost closed the little side ports again, which is far from ideal. I didn't get a lot of this on footage. but hopefully this is going to work. So I've been messing about for ages trying to work this power valve stuff out. It's driving me mad because it's not just a simple open close, but I think I've got it. If I haven't, we'll take the cylinder head off and do some proper measurements. But essentially this little arm here needs to stop on the top of that casing to show it's hitting full power valve. I'm going to start it up and wind all the neighbours up, unfortunately. And you can leave these caps off just for the testing phase. So wish me luck. Everything looks like it's working perfectly. But I was off to Agadir the following day, so there was absolutely no chance to test whether this work had been successful because I was going to be spending 7 days eating and drinking. But all I kept thinking about whilst away was, did it work? Well, I guess we're going to find out now. Having the luxury of 7 days relaxing allowed me to make some orders for Project Honda Grom, and that was some mirrors. Upon returning home though, the weather had turned drastically for the worse, so it was going to be a wet test ride, potentially with the bike now running at full power. All good? Did you see it fucking?
Yeah, I was like, you want it straight in there.
I was like, fuck! I need to, so the power valve's working, but what I need to do is, you got a screwdriver in there, have you? I need to wind this in now, because the power valve's opening too early, so I'm losing loads of mid-range.
What, one full turn?
Yeah. Oh, sweet. Because it's got no, you can hear the power valve go, no, and it opens too early. All the way up to 12 o'clock if you can. Don't bust your key though. Yes. A little bit more. That deep. Yes, fucking.
3/4 of the turn, isn't it?
Huh?
Was that about 3/4?
That was about half, but that'll do. It's just now I know the power valve opens, but it misses the, it's opening too early, so I'm losing all the mid-range. But it's fucking wild, man. Oh, sorry. Fucking, it's so much better to ride. It's like.
Let it rip, take a chip.
I was like, fucking hell. And I was like, these tyres ain't good in this way. I could feel it like sliding around and stuff. Nah, so that's good though. That's what I wanted. Needs more fine tuning. I think the fueling needs playing with. But yeah, that screw I just got to keep fucking about with till I get the mid-range point right. Because it you can hear the power valve when you're riding. It's like, and it's still too early. And then when it kicks in, it proper gives the old bars a little lift up. And that was me on like 3/4 throttle, I went in flat out.
Really?
Because I weren't sure how bad it was going to wheel spin or bite me. Woohoo!
Happy days.
Yeah, that's minor details now, them. Fucking touch. Don't like it, it overcools as well. I was struggling to keep heating it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was going down to like 40, so I was slowing down and trying to stop the wind flow. But will she start?
It's 20, almost 25
Oh,
past.
oh, that's fine then, we'll be fine. See if we can go.
Although it had been absolutely freezing out on this morning's ride, it gave us the opportunity to celebrate with a full fry-up, as we were so chuffed with how the bike had run, and we were going to need our tummies lined ready for the final round of the MotoGP. Well folks, that's a wrap. We've got the power valve working. You probably won't be able to hear it in the video. Unfortunately, the microphone decided that just didn't want to work today. Typical technical issues as always, but yeah, wow, it's done, it works. It's still running a little bit rich personally. Remember, for those again who followed the series, we messed about with a jet kit, and yeah, maybe I've just got it wrong, but it seems to foul up pretty quickly. But once you get it cleared, it's like, it's there. I'm hoping I've got that little clip of the front wheel coming up. I would like to say, hopefully there's going to be plenty more on this little Grom, but really disappointing. It's just not done well on YouTube. I thought this was going to be quite a popular series because it's, yeah, for me, I've loved every minute of it. I don't regret it, but for me to continue on, it would just be for my own benefit, and I'm pretty much there with it. Not meaning I'm going to sell it. I've still got to do all the bodywork with ImageWorks. I've set out to finish that. But things like, I'd love a proper dash technology on it one. Oh, they look so cool. Proper temperature, rev gauge and everything. But yeah, with these things, unfortunately, for me, I enjoy it, but I won't just keep building projects unless it's some sort of return from YouTube, and it just hasn't done that. So if you have enjoyed this video or even the series, please do hit that like button, consider subscribing. It's ultimately what might keep this project going, but it's not being sold, so don't panic yet. But I just think we've got other projects that seem far more popular on the channel, which we're going to have to push on with through the winter.